Hi there, this is Tracy with Totally Trace, getting ready to do my July craft along. I'll give people just a minute to hop on. All right, so while we're waiting for everybody to get settled, let me explain what a craft along is. So I do this the last Wednesday of every month. And what you do is you pre-order a kit from me and you'll receive a kit. Here's this month's kit. And it comes with all the supplies you need to make the projects that we're making, except for your stamps. So you will need some stamps to complete it. Today I am using Greetings of the Season and Golden Greenery. I don't think I actually use any of the stamps from this one, but I do use some of the die cuts. But those die cuts are already pre-punched for you in the kit. So again, the last Wednesday of every month, this is what I do. If you are watching and you're thinking, oh, I really want to participate in that, but I don't have the kit, I did include the link in the comment section for you to purchase that. So I opened that up for one more week so that you can get that and you can just catch the replay. All right. If you are joining me, go ahead and say hi in the comments section because I see some of you have joined, but again, my setup, I can't see who it is. So just say hi in the comments so I know you're here. The first card that we are going to make is this card. So in your kit, let's see, we'll need the gold paper, of course. I'm going to pull that out. And then we're going to need the one with vanilla. And then I'm just going to keep my ribbon out because you're going to need that gold trim and you're going to need the vanilla. All right, hi, for those of you that just joined, I saw several of you just popped in. Welcome, thanks for joining me. Say hi in the comments section so that I know you're here. Okay, well, it looks like my comments aren't popping up. So, oh, there they are. Okay, hi Danielle, hi Carol. Hi Alan/Jane, that threw me for a minute. I was like, Alan's watching? Hi Gail. Okay, so we're making this card first. So you need the envelope that has the very vanilla cardstock, and then you want this paper out. All right, so I'm gonna start with the cardstock and we're gonna fold it so you can see that I cut this a little differently. Normally when you make a card, you cut it in half this way, but this time I cut it this way. So we still are going to cut it in, it's already cut in half, 4 1/4. So when we score it, we're going to score it at 5 1/2. All right, and those of you that are making it live with me, please give me the feedback. Let me know if I'm going too fast, too slow. I know some of us have a meeting tonight at 7 o'clock that we're trying to get to. All right, 5 1/2. So I'm just gonna score it there. All right, so now it looks like a regular card base. Now I'm gonna cut some pieces off. So the first thing I'm gonna do is off the front piece, I'm gonna cut off 1 3/4. So again, I'm cutting off 1 3/4. I'm gonna save this piece because we are using it. So now it looks like that. So I cut off 1 3/4 there. And now I'm gonna cut off another 2 inches. This 2-inch piece is your scrap. We're not gonna actually use it for this card. Okay, so now my card looks like that. And then I have this piece, which will eventually go here. All right, now with this paper, it's already cut at 4 inches. So we're gonna cut it at 5 1/4. So I'm cutting at 5 1/4. And then I'm gonna cut at 1 1/2. All right, yeah, Danielle, that's fine. Join in whenever you can. And again, I'll send out the replay link to you so that you can make it whenever everything's working fine. All right, so 1.5 and 1.5. All right, so I had already had it cut 4 inches for you, so I've got it at 5 1/4, and then 2 pieces that are 1.5. Okay, so this, I believe, is, oh, no, we will use one more piece out of that. I was gonna say, I think that one's completely your scrap, but not quite. Okay, let me get this out of the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and start gluing. So you have your card base and you have this. So this piece is gonna get glued here. This piece is gonna get glued here. And then this is getting glued in the middle. So I'm just using a super thin layer of glue so it doesn't end up squeezing out of my paper. It doesn't end up all over my fingers. Although sometimes it still does that. Okay. All right, how's everybody doing out there? Did you get all the measurements correct? Okay, this paper is so pretty. I love it, love it, love it. All right, now in your envelope, uh-oh, I've lost mine, here it is. Let's see what else we have in here. Okay. So looking back at my card, I'm gonna stamp my sentiment on here. Again, I am using the Greetings of the Season set. This is an online exclusive. You can use whatever set you have, and I'm going to use the For You. That's Love and Joy. Where's my For You? There are so many sentiments on this thing, I can never find what I'm looking for. There it is. And I am stamping it in Mossy Meadow. For those of you that were in my class last Saturday, you know this one is super wet. So, oh yeah, look, I hardly tapped it and it's Gushin Green. I just re-inked it. So let's see how this stamps. And if it doesn't stamp well, that's all right. I've got another side. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so now I'm gonna start building this. And I always lay everything out to make sure I like how it's going before I glue anything down. So I'm just going to follow my sample. Oh, it looks like I need to poke that hole out. And then this will get glued down. You have all these pieces in your kit. They're already cut for you. Okay. So it's going to go like that. And then I need this piece. So that piece is actually, I'm gonna guess about a 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna go back to this. I'm just gonna cut off a 1/2 inch. Oh, even that might be a little too thick. And I'm gonna lay it across the bottom, and then I'm just gonna cut off the excess. That way I don't have to worry about getting it measured exactly right. So I'll just flip that over and cut. All right, my desk is starting to get messy already. Carol, you said maybe. Is that about the measurements? That maybe you have them right? All right, so now we're gonna get to the little bit of a complicated piece. I say it's complicated just because I don't exactly remember how I did this loop, so of how I tied it down. So I know what I want is I want the ribbon to be like this. And so I think what I did is I tied just a knot around it. This is one of those you might want to wait till I'm done. See if I do it right so that you're not doing the mistakes. There we go. So that it looks like that. And then I'm going to thread it through here. And thread my bells through as well. Oh, wait, see, already, I want my label first. Okay, now my bells, and I'm putting my bigger bell down first, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so it looks like that. I'm gonna get it as tight to that as possible. And then I'm tying a knot here as well. Okay, yep, I think I did it right first time. And this one I'm going to do a double knot. And don't be afraid to even do a triple knot. I find that this ribbon, this thread sometimes likes to come undone. And when I've already done it triple, it doesn't. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut off the excess there. Okay, then I'm going to bring this ribbon flat, and I just want to cut off this other piece, and I cut it at an angle. So to do that, I hold it tight between my fingers and cut it just like that. All right. Okay, so now at this point, I'm just going to glue things down where I want it to be. So I'm just going to put some drops of glue here. Again, if you're using the same glue as me, it doesn't take a lot. And I'm only going to do it towards the top half. And it will stay. All right, then I'm just going to put a dab of glue there and hold him down. Whoop. And a dab of glue there to hold that one down. All right, so we are about ready to assemble. Oh, I see more people have joined. Thanks so much for joining us. We're working on our July craft along. So hopefully you have pre-ordered the kits to join in and making these cards with us. If not, you can watch the replay and still order the kit. I have the link in the comments. All right, so now here's what we're gonna do. This is going to get attached here. And so for that, I'm going to use my dimensionals. And you guys know I'm very stingy with my dimensionals, not on this one. Because this ribbon is so puffy, you really need quite a few dimensionals to make it stick. So I'm gonna use 4 of them right up here at the top. Okay, just like that. And then you're just gonna lay it wherever you want it and then push it down. All right, so now to do this piece, I'm gonna flip this upside down And I'm gonna put dimensionals just at each end here. And then I'm gonna lay this where I want it to be. So the key here is you really want it to line up because you want it to look like it's part of the card. So nobody's gonna know that there's that window if it lines up perfectly. So I'm playing with this first and putting it exactly where I want it to go. So that looks pretty good. Then I'll close this and hold my strings out of the way. My ribbon, I don't know why I keep calling it strings today. And then push down. So it looks like that. All right, now in your kit, you also had another one of these because people aren't gonna be able to write on that gold. So I'm just gonna kind of line up where that goes. So let's put some glue on the back of it. Super thin layer. And then I'm just gonna kind of play. And it looks like I did all right the first time of just kind of getting it in there so that this covers it. All right, first card is done. How's everybody doing? Is your first card done too? You guys are very quiet today. Okay. All right, next card. We are going to do this one. So let's go back to our kits. Let's see, it's got the green background, the garden green, so it's gonna be one of these. I'm thinking, yep, it's this one because inside it will have that tag. Carol, not done. Jane, almost. All right, I'll get cleaned up while you guys are finishing that. So you're gonna need that. And then we're gonna need a few sheets of paper for this one, so I'll get it laid out for you. This one, which I think is my favorite paper. And then one sheet of that. And that's it. So those are the 2 sheets that you need. All right. Okay, so next card is this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and empty my envelope so I have everything. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so same thing. I cut the card long ways. We're gonna score it at 5.5. There we go. I'm gonna keep this out so that we can cut our paper as well. So because this is a standard card, I'm gonna go down a size on the, down 1/4 inch for each side on the designer series paper. So it's already by 4, so we're gonna cut it at 5 1/4. And then, we're gonna go 2 inches. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting the back side. So it's that. All right, before you cut, let me just make sure I'm right. Oh, that one's 2 inches, so we're gonna go a little bit smaller. So let's do, I'm gonna do 1 7/8. If you're like, oh, come on, Tracy, I don't know where that is on my cutter, just go to 1 3/4. But I think I want less green showing. All right, so then this piece is gonna be 1 7/8. So again, if you need to do 1 3/4, that's okay. Actually, I'm wondering if I want to go a little bit bigger. Let's do this 1 by 2. Okay. Anybody need me to say those measurements again? I felt like I went through that fast, so I'll say it one more time. So I cut the card base totally wrong. Oh, I bet it's just the wrong piece. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this one is 5 1/4. So it's already 4 inches on the one side, so you're cutting 5 1/4 off. And then you're gonna cut off another 1 7/8. So it's this piece, but we're actually gonna use the back. And then on this, we are cutting 2 inches. Jane, I see that you are asking which green one. Were you able to find it? It had this on the inside. I think that's what you're asking. Ooh, sorry, I'm jiggling you quite a bit. All right, I'm gonna start. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start gluing these down, and I'll say the measurements again while I'm gluing. So this piece is 5 1/4. Oh, and that glue was not upside down long enough, apparently. Let me get another one. There we go. Super thin layer. I'm going to put that right in the middle. I know this is a non-directional paper, but that almost looked upside down. I'm going to flip it. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue the dotted paper that's not gold onto this green paper that I gave you. That was already in your kit cut for you. Okay, that's going to go there, but I'm not going to glue it. This is going to go behind, but I'm not going to glue it. Instead, first I'm going to tie my ribbon around. So I just need to take a peek, right? Deconstructing my card to make sure I've got this right. Okay, actually, okay. So I'm going to wrap this around. And all I'm going to do is tie 1 knot. Okay, it's going to be like that. That's just going to give me an idea. It's okay if it loosens, but it's just going to give me an idea of where everything's going. So we're going to eventually tie that tag there. Okay, so this one I'm going to put over the top of that, and I am popping it up. So I'm going to be back to being stingy. I'm just going to use 2 dimensionals. Oh, Gail, let me show you that part again. So I have this glued onto the card, and so I'm just taking it within the card around like this. Whoops, now I've got it stuck to dimensionals. There we go. just like that. And that will give me an idea of where everything's going before I put anything down. Okay. So now I want this to be pretty close to the edge. So it's gonna look like that. Then this one's gonna get glued under there. So you might wanna pause what you're doing to watch how I do this one. So I'm putting glue on the back. And I'm going to just kind of stick it just like there. So I want a little bit hanging out the bottom, just like that. So it's actually under my ribbon. Now you can see my ribbon is still pretty pliable, so it can go wherever I need it to. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my greeting. So I use Seasons Greetings. It's out of that same stamp set. This time though, I stamped it in Garden Green. It's looking very light. Oh, it is coming out. Okay. So I'm going to stamp Seasons Greetings right on there. Okay. And then that is going to get glued right there. Okay, so it'll look like that. All right, I'm gonna give you a minute to catch up. Hopefully your card is looking pretty close to this. So I'm often asked about how online it looks so easy and I look so quick, and I talk about all the design process behind the scenes, and then if you're watching my reels, like it might be 2 hours worth of film that I've cut down to 90 seconds. If you're a person that's asked me that, you might appreciate my day today. I probably spent about 3 hours in the craft room this morning and did not create a single card. I have 2 cards that are started, and both of them, like, they're okay, but I haven't glued anything down because they're still missing something. So I'm sure you can relate to that. All right, now finishing touch for this card. So your card looks like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a little piece of this off, enough to tie that knot. So it's this, I don't know, it's about 4.5 inches. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay that diagonally across that vanilla knot, because my goal is to now finish this knot with that gold piece in the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to tie the knot right over the top of it, so that it looks like that. Because now what that will allow me to do is I can thread this piece through. Maybe. There we go. And make my knots here without ever losing that gold piece. And again, I'm going to, if I gave myself enough room, I'm going to triple knot this. I gave myself enough ribbon, it's whether or not my fingers want to do the work. And then pulling it as tight as possible helps it stay too. go. And so I'm going to cut this ribbon. And again, I just pull the ribbon super tight, get it stretched, and then I cut at that diagonal. And then this, I'm feeling quite a bump that I didn't have on my other one. So on this one, I just glued it here, but since this one is kind of raised here, I think I'm gonna use a pop dot under it. So I'm just gonna stick a pop dot right here. Do it that way. All right, card number 2 done. Do you feel like you're at the races, or are you keeping up? All right, I'm getting stuff ready for our next one. So this is the next card we're gonna make. It is also on the garden green background, so you're looking for the other envelope in your kit that has these pieces. Excuse me. All right, so I'm gonna shake everything out of here. Okay, now this one we're gonna score a little differently. So normally we've been scoring at the 5.5. We don't want this to be scored in the middle because you can see I've got each end. So instead we're gonna score at 2 3/4 on each side. So it's still gonna give us a 5.5 by 4 1/4 card, but again, I'm scoring at 2 3/4 at each end. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. So 2 3/4 at this end. And then I'm just gonna flip it around and do 2 3/4 again. Okay, so it looks like that. And then I'm just gonna fold these sides in, get them nice and flat. Okay, so it looks like this. Again, I scored at 2 3/4 at each end, so it folds in on itself like that. All right, let's see, what paper are we going to need? And maybe I lost my paper. There it is. Okay, so this time, this piece you'd already cut a little bit off. I'm going to use it again. And then I'm looking for the one with bells. So this is the other piece we're going to use. Okay, so you should have the full sheet that has the bells on it, and then this piece that we've already used a little piece of. So the bells are going to go on this piece, so we're going to cut that down, and then we're going to use this for the inside and the outside of the card. All right, so let's start with this one. Again, it's already 4 inches across, so I'm going to cut off 2 1/2, and I'm going to do that 2 times. So 2 1/2 and 2 1/2. And those measurements might sound familiar to you because we had scored at 2 3/4, so all I did was take a 1/4 inch off. So it's going to look like that. And then I am going to need this for the inside. Let's see. I might need to pull out my other sheet because I want it for the back. Yep, I'm going to pull out my other piece for that. And so for this piece, I'm wanting it to go all the way across, but because I have those fold lines, I'm not gonna do quite 5.5. I'm gonna go just a little bit smaller than 5.5. I did 5 3/8, but again, if your 1/8 is too much for you, go 5 1/4. It's not that big of a deal. So I'm gonna cut at 5 3/8. Then I'm gonna turn it and cut 1.5 off. And this piece is the one I'm using. So I'm using the one that's 1.5 by 5 3/8. So see, that's gonna go right there. Okay, let me get that put away. And let's see, we need to cut our bell paper still. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this one at 4 3/4. 4 3/4. And then I'm gonna cut off 3.5 because I don't want it quite that big. So I'm gonna cut it 3.5. Okay, so now I have everything cut. So these are the pieces that you should have cut. These were already 4 inches, so all I did was cut off 2.5 and 2.5. So you have 2 that are 2.5 by 4. Then I had to use my other long piece to get this one started. And this one is, I'm looking at my notes so I tell you the right thing. Oh, 5 3/8, just a little bit smaller than 5.5 by 1.5. And then this piece is 4 3/4 by 3.5. Yes. Okay, I'm going to start doing some gluing. So in your kit, you have 2 pieces of vanilla. The larger piece, maybe it's a smaller piece. Oh, something's wrong. Okay. So that is definitely right. I just cut this piece wrong, so let me check that one again. Four 3/4, yes. By 3.5, yes. But this was, so I'm gonna go 3 1/4. So I'm just gonna shave off a little bit. There we go, that looks better. Okay. Jane, when you say you're missing the larger piece, what do you mean? Oh, of the vanilla? Okay. I am so sorry about that. I will make sure I have that for you. Wonder if somebody else got a bonus one in your place. All right, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. So I'm gluing this to the larger piece. Okay, then I'm going to glue these to the side pieces. So it's going to go just like that. Notice my glue is super thin when I'm doing this. Okay, that's gonna go there. Okay, so it looks just like that. Okay, I am not doing anything with this one yet. Instead, I'm going to the inside, and I'm going to glue this one down first, and I'll just show my sample again. I should probably have this out for you guys all the time. So you can see I'm getting pretty close to the bottom. Super thin layer. And then we're going to glue that over the top of it. Okay, so it looks just like that. All right, so now the outside, I'm going to do a knot for the ribbon. So the ribbon is just going around this piece. And I did go all the way around. You know that sometimes I cheat to save that ribbon, but because anybody opening the card can see it, I didn't want that ugly like cut there. So I am gonna do this all the way around. So it's gonna go like this. I just lay the card right onto the ribbon. And then I do my knots. Okay, and all it is a double knot. Super simple. No bows today. Well, at least not yet. Actually, I don't think I did any bows in this class. I'm letting everybody off easy. Okay. And then, again, I'm going to hold that ribbon really taut and then just cut. Okay. All right. Next, we're going to stamp another greeting. I did Merry Christmas. I'm using that same set again. So I'm using Greetings of the Season. This is one of the new online exclusives. And, oh, I'm not using the cursive. Okay, so I'm going to lay it down on my card or on my tag where I want it. This tag is part of the bundles with that stamp set. But again, I already punched it for you. You do have it in your kit. Okay, that looks pretty good. It looks pretty straight. And so now I'll put it on my block. And it gave me a little bit of residue. That's okay. I'm flipping it over. Okay, and I'm using Garden Green again. And this one is, I don't know, for some reason it's looking like no ink's going on it, but it's stamping nicely. Okay, I'm gonna get right over top of it. I'm sorry if I'm like in the camera doing this, but I just want it to be straight if possible. There we go. Okay, and so this one, all I did was I just popped it on there. So it didn't go through the tag at all. I'm gonna use my pop dots again. Because my ribbon's going through the middle, I'm gonna put my pop dots at the top, and I'm gonna use the minis just because my ribbon is pretty thick. So I'm gonna do one there and one over here. And then same thing right at the bottom so that it'll stick to the paper and not that ribbon. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it just in my head makes sense to do it that way. Okay, just like that. And now I'm going to use pop dots just to attach it to one side because you want it to be able to open. So don't make the mistake of putting pop dots in each corner. I'm just gonna put a couple over here. So I want it to attach to this side. It really doesn't matter though if you want it to attach to that side. So I'm gonna put it over here. So I'm thinking on this side here. And then I'm starting to run out of pop dots. So I'm just gonna use these edges. Flip it over one more time. Yep, I'm putting it over on this side. Okay, and here we go, attaching it to the card. Card number 3. Oh, look what I did. You know what? It doesn't even matter. But look, again, live on camera, I put it on the wrong side. My sample is supposed to be on the bottom. Okay, it's good. There you go. All right, I am cleaning up, getting ready for card number 4. I'm wondering where you are right now. No pressure. Since there hasn't been many comments, I'm guessing you're rushing through to keep up. Here, while I'm cleaning up, I'll lay out August's kit for you so you have something to look at if you're already finished and just waiting on me. So again, the last Wednesday of every month, my live is a craft along where you pre-purchase the kit and you receive all the materials to make the cards along with me. You'll have everything you need except for any stamped images, so any words will not be included. And in this case, I also used a flower too, so that would not be included. So you could either purchase the same stamp set that I'm using, or you can use whatever stamps you have at home. All right, last card. We still have another project after this, but this is our last card. So I'm gonna get my last envelope that was in your kit. Let's see what goodies we have in here. Okay, so in this one, this is actually a gift card holder. So it opens like a regular card, just like that, but also this opens and you can fit a gift card in there. So that is what we are making next. So let's see, what papers am I gonna need? Okay, so we're gonna need this paper. So it's not the one with the bells that we just used. It's the other one, looks like that. Okay, and then we're gonna need this, which is gonna be the back side of something. So let me check out the backs. Oh, it's the back side of the bells. Okay, so I'm gonna pull that page out. So we've already cut some of it. We're gonna use the rest of that. And then in here, oh, look, we're gonna have that again. So I'm gonna pull out this page, or this one that we had already cut off of. All right, so you've got your kit, your last envelope, and then these are the papers that you need out. Oh, wait. Yes, we do need that. Oh, no, I pulled the wrong one. Look at me. You can use that one if you want, but that's not what my sample used. My sample used, oh, it's the back of this one. Okay, so really you only need 2 sheets out. You need this paper, because we're going to use both sides, and then you need this one. All right. Hi, Jenny, I'm not sure which. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. All right, so let's see. Let's start with our scoring first. So both of these sheets we're going to score in half. So this one we're going to score at 5.5 because this is going to be our card base. So I'm scoring at 5.5. And this one is 8.5. I'm just going to double check before I tell you what to score. Yeah, so we're going to score at 4.25. now you should have both of those scored. All right, so now I'm going to start cutting our designer series paper. So I'm going to start with this one. And this is going to be our background. So I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4. So remember, it's just a 1/4 inch less than our card base. So that'll fit just like that. And then I'm just going to flip it. I guess I don't really need to. But this one is 4 1/4 by 3, which means I need to go 4 by 2 3/4. So this is already cut at 4 for me. So all I'm doing is cutting 2 3/4. Okay. Oh, I felt a little nervous cutting that. Let's see. Okay, good. I don't know why all of a sudden I was like, ooh, is that right? All right, I'll save those measurements again for you. So this paper, I cut 5 1/4, so it's gonna fit right there. This paper, I cut it 3 inches, so it'll fit right there. Okay, so you can see they were both 4 inches long. I cut off 3 inches and I cut off 5 1/4. So that will all fit there. So now for this piece, I'm going to use this and I'm going to cut it at, so this was 4 1/4. So I want to go a little bit smaller than that because it won't quite fit in there if I go the exact same size. So I'm going to go a little bit smaller. So I'm not going to go to 4 1/4. I'm going to go to 4 1/8. If you need to go to 4, the gift card will still fit. So I'm going to go to 4 1/4. And then I'm going to go to 1 3/4. Okay, I'll say that again. I went to not 4 1/4, 4 1/8 by 1 3/4. So 4 1/8 by 1 3/4. Okay, I'm putting my scraps off to the side. Okay, so now this is going to get glued here, this is going to get glued here, and this will get glued on the inside, close as you can to the bottom, but it's a gift card holder. So let me glue that for you first so that you can see what it'll look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to glue 3 sides, and I'm going to get as close as I can to those sides. Danielle, it will not, the video won't have a transcript, so you have a couple options. You can pause the video and cut when I say it, or there's a PDF version that I can send you that has all the measurements. Okay, so again, I'm only gonna, look, I'm gonna do a thin layer. Oh, maybe this wasn't upside down long enough. Let me get my one that's laying upside down. I always have 2 glue sticks because that's what happens to me. I'm gonna do a thin layer, super thin, around 3 of the sides. Okay, so it looks like that. And then that is going to get glued pretty close to the bottom. And then once that's dry, I'll show you how a card will fit right in there. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this to the front. Okay, so it'll look just like that. And then I'm going to glue this one to the front. Oh, does it hurt you to put glue on this side of the paper? I know it hurts me. I love the two-sided paper, but it's always, when the really pretty side is covered up, it's like, oh. Okay, so it looks like that. And then I am going to, actually I won't glue this piece down yet just because I think it might be easier to manipulate if we don't. All right. Yeah, Jane, I know. If you don't want to glue on that side and you want both sides to be the pretty paper, you can. I just didn't design it that way. I'm not sure how it'll look, but it'll probably look amazing. All right, so now I'm gonna make this tag and we're gonna use the same trick for getting that gold in there as we did on this card, if you remember us making this card earlier. So let's make our tag. Okay, so again, greetings of the season. This time I used happy holidays. And I used this tag, that's what's already cut for you. So I'm gonna lay it across the front. And I'm sorry, I might be a little off camera. I just wanna make sure on my end it's straight. And it definitely does not look that way. Okay, that's pretty close. I'll bring it back into camera. Okay, and then I get it on my block. Okay, and this time I used Old Olive. One of the great things about this designer series paper is it has all the Stampin' Up! Greens, so no matter which one you use, you're fine. Like I could have used any of them. Okay, yep, that looks pretty straight. Okay, ta-da! Sorry, I feel like I had to clap for myself there. Yes, Carol, no problem. In fact, anybody who ordered the kit, I'll just send it to you so that you have it. Okay, so let's get that vanilla ribbon. And I'll just remind you how we did that. So it's going to wrap around inside the card. Again, you know I like to be, I don't know, what's a polite word for cheap or stingy? Frugal, is that a better word? I don't know. With my ribbon, and so normally I hide my edges, but again, somebody's gonna be opening this and I don't want them to see the ugliness. So I am gonna wrap it around to tie it. But I'm just going to tie one part of the knot and leave it. Then I'm taking my gold piece that was in your kit, and this time I'm going to cut a little bit bigger. I think I'm going to cut about 6 inches, and I'm going to lay that in the middle. So now when I tie this other piece, let me tighten it back up again and get this back where it should be. When I tie this, that gold piece will be inside. Wah, wah, wah. Let's try that again. This ribbon is beautiful, but it is super slippery. Finn agrees if you can hear him. He likes to talk to me when I'm crafting. There we go. And then you can just manipulate that of however you want that vanilla ribbon to be. Okay, so now I'm going to cut off, so pull it tight. Cut off a piece like that. This piece is looking a little long. I think I'm going to regret trying to cut this though, since it's already somewhat short. Oh, ta-da, did it. Okay. So now your gold ribbon, or your gold thread should be in the center there. So now I'm just going to thread the Happy Holidays through. So the stamp side will be up. And then same thing, triple knot. Okay, thanks, Carol. Frugal. I'm frugal with it. Oh, thanks for saying the cards turned out pretty. It's all the paper, right? I really think you can do anything with this paper and it would be just amazing. Same thing with the August class if you haven't seen that one yet. The paper is just amazing, super easy to work with. All right, so it looks like that. And again, if you want your ribbon going sideways instead of up and down, you just play with it. On this one, I actually put a glue dot for that to stay, but it seems like I'm okay. It's not really going anywhere. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. And so I'm gonna glue it to the front. Just like that. All right, and I think somewhere in here, I don't think I actually have a gift card, but I think I have, oh, here we go. I have an old cruise key. So you can gently slide it right in there. So it does hold a gift card. So I don't know, I just thought that was so cute that it opens that way. And then you can also write your message inside. Okay, now this dangling's starting to bother me, so I am gonna put a glue dot there. Okay, ta-da! All right, all 4 cards done. All right, our last project with your kits is this cute gift box. And so if you saw, I took them out, and I probably shouldn't have, but Gerard delis fit perfectly in here, and I think I had 6 of them. And you know, at Christmas time they have all the different colors, but I had the red, the green, and the gold ones wrapped. I couldn't tell you what flavors they were, but I had those in there, and it just looks very cute. But really, I mean, it doesn't even have to be Christmassy since we use gold. Okay, so let's see. Going back to your kits, you had a piece of paper like this, and then this was not in an envelope because it's not a card. You had 3 tags, so you're going to need all 3 tags. Okay, and then you're going to need this paper. Oh, we didn't even use this side in this class, but this is my second favorite paper in the set, and it doesn't even have gold in it, but there's just something about it. I think it's so pretty. Okay, so now, when I design these, I always have, no, Jane, I did not eat that. Well, actually, I think I did eat one of them, but the rest went back in the pantry. Yeah, and now that you say that, the green's a mint because I did eat it. So when I design these, I've gotten really good at writing a little sticky note as I'm making them so that when I'm prepping everything for you, I'm not having to remeasure and refigure out what I did. But somehow I lost the sticky note for this one, and if I could only tell you how long it took to design a box to make sure all the sides match up, and I didn't want to tear this apart. So I'm really hoping my measurements are right, but I did double, triple check them, and I made like a little cheat sheet for us. Okay, so this is not a square, so you're going to want to make sure you have the correct side. one of them is 5 3/4 and the other side is 5 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to measure mine to see. All right, so this side looks like the 5 3/4. I'm just gonna make sure 5 1/2. Okay, so get it where your 5 1/2 is running across the top. So it goes to the 5 1/2. Okay, so it's gonna look like this. The 5 1/2, the shorter side is running along the top. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to score and do 1 3/4. All right, Carol, thanks for joining. I'll send you the link when we're all done so that you can finish up. All right, I'm gonna score at 1 3/4. So I'm not rotating. It's the 5 1/2 side. I'm gonna go to 1 3/4. And now I'm going to flip it 180 degrees and go to 1 3/4 again. Did you know that you were coming for a math lesson today? Hopefully you know your fractions and your rotations. Okay, so it should look like that. You have one here that's scored at 1 3/4 and one here that's scored at 1 3/4. All right, now I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees so that my 5 3/4 is up at the top. And I'm going to score at 1 5/8. Okay, so I'm going to score at 1 5/8. So I'm going to go to my 1 1/2 and go up 1/8 more. And I'm going to score. So all night I've been telling you don't worry about the 8s if that messes you up. I think on this one you need to do the 8s. Okay, so now I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. And I'm going to go to 1 1/2. And then I'm going to go up 1/8. So I'm at 1 5/8. All right, so if you've done it correctly, it looks like that. I'm just going to bring those measurements in again in case you missed it. And what I am doing is I'm now going to flip it over and I'm going to just fold each side. Like that. Okay, so it should look like that. So now I'm going to bring in this other piece to show you how I'm cutting. All right, so this is my longer side and this is my shorter side. So this is the 5 3/4 side. So what I'm going to do when I cut this, as soon as I find my paper snips, they're lost somewhere on my desk right in front of me probably. Or maybe they're not. I've really lost them. Okay. Oh, there they are. I actually put them away. Who would have thought? Okay. So now what I'm going to do is you can see, hopefully you can see, I've got a pretty heavy score line right here. So what I do is I cut just to the right side of it. It's like I'm using that line to trace. And you're cutting up to this score line. And now I'm going to go on the other side of it, right up to that score line. And then I just pull that piece out. So I'm going to do that here, and up here. Okay, so I'm going to go just to the right side of that score line and cut up to that other first score line. And I'm going to go just on the other side of it. And pull out. Okay, so now I'm going to rotate 180 degrees and I'm going to do the exact same thing here. Right up to that line. And pull that piece out. There's a fancy name for what we're doing right now. I just couldn't tell you what it is. feel like I said that last time we made a box. I probably should find out what that word is. All right, so it will look like that. Again, I'll just bring those measurements in for you in case you need that. All right, and here's our sample. Okay, so now what we're doing is we are making, I'm just gonna put my box together to make sure. So the box is gonna come together like that. And then I'm gonna look for my long side, which is that side. Okay. I didn't take notes on, remember I told you I lost my sheet, so I just gotta figure out what size we're gonna cut this paper. Okay. Oh, actually I have a sheet for us. Okay, that's why I didn't take notes on it. So now, if you see, this is going to make our box. And this is going to become the sides. All these are the tags that come with that stamp set. So if you buy the bundle, you get the tags, and I just punched out 2 to make the sides. Okay, so let's first construct our box. So I want, let me think for a minute so I'm telling you the right thing. These flaps I want to hide. So I'm gonna glue them in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it flipped this way. And I am gonna use liquid glue just because it is more forgiving. And so I can like squish things around to make it line up better. But it will take a second to dry. Whereas the tape, it would hold instantly. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue here, a little glue here, and then same thing. Okay, so on those 4 outer squares is where you're putting your glue. And I'm gonna flip it back this way, and those are gonna come on the inside, and then this will go right over it. Okay, and then this same thing, I want the flaps to come on the inside, the ones that have the glue. And then I'm just gonna hold those for a second. It does dry pretty fast, at least enough to hold, so we can work on something else. All right. So I'm going to cut off 1.5 inches for these pieces. So I'm going to cut 1.5. Before you cut, let me just double check it. Hang on, double checking. Yes, 1.5 and 1.5. Okay, so you have 2 pieces that you just cut 1.5 inches off, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it across here and glue, and then cut off my excess. And I'm going to do that for both tags. So I'm just going to line it up on that side as straight as I can. And then you can use your trimmer if you want to make sure you really get that straight edge, but the tag will give you a guide. Okay, so it looks like that. And I'm going to do the other one. Both of these were 1.5 inches. They're going to be on opposite sides of each other, so if I don't have them lined up from the bottom equally, that's okay, it's not going to matter. And then again, I'm going to use this as a guide to cut off the excess. All right, so it looks just like that. And now I'm going to do my tag. So I did promise some embossing for you. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to do a gold embossing on it. So I'm going to use Love and Joy. And I'm going to emboss it gold. You are stamping whatever you want on this. But this way you can see the embossing technique. All right, so when you are embossing, there are some tools that you need. So first I use a tray. It just reduces waste of all of this stuff. And then this is an embossing buddy. And so it removes all the static so you won't get that like stray stuff. So here's a perfect example. On this one, I was lazy, did not use my embossing buddy, and you can see I have extra gold just kind of laying around. So if you use this, that should not happen. But of course, I might prove you wrong in just a few minutes. Okay, so we're gonna do that. So notice I did the tray and the paper. So next thing you're gonna need is Versamark. So I just ink this up with the Versamark, and then I'm going to stamp it. Oh, let's not stamp it upside down. Okay, and then it goes in the tray, and you're just going to pour the embossing powder right over the top. And then tap off. And so you can see I didn't get any extras anywhere. My L doesn't look like it has quite enough, so I'm just gonna kind of run it over that again. Yeah, that looks better. So you can see all this excess. All I have to do is dump it right back in here. All right, now the fun part of embossing. And let's see if this tool will help. All right, so you need a heat embosser. And then you're just going to turn this on, and I tend to go in circles. And you don't want to be in one spot at a time because you can burn your paper. I promise, I've done it myself. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but you'll know when it has worked because it will actually change texture. Like on my end, I can see it's getting super glittery. It doesn't look like powder anymore. Okay, I'm just gonna turn it around. Okay, it looks like everything is good. So now that is permanently on there. There you go. So if you've never heat embossed, you see how easy it is. All right, so your box should be pretty sturdy and dry right now. So not on the short end, but on the long ends, we're gonna go ahead and put some glue. And you're gonna line this up with the bottom. Okay, and I'll just squish it that way so I know it's lined up, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. All right, so your box should look like that now. I am gonna give that a second to dry as well. We are gonna use that vanilla ribbon again to thread through it. What I will need is a point to be able to get it through that hole. So I am gonna cut some of this off to try and get that severe diagonal. Okay. Okay, that feels pretty sturdy. So I'm gonna pull it through. And then pull it through again. Okay, so it looks just like that. All right, now this piece, we're gonna do that same trick. I'm gonna do half of my knot. And then you should have plenty of this gold trim. I'm gonna cut off, I don't know, 3 to 4 inches. Run my tag through. Okay, and then do the rest of my knots. Oh, my tag fell off, but that's okay. I just wanted to make sure it dangled in the right spot. Okay, so it looks like that. And then we'll put the tag on. With that double knot. And we'll cut off this piece. Actually, I don't even want it that big. Let's go here. Okay, and then cut off some of this. It frayed quite a bit while I was trying to thread those holes. All right, and there is your box. All right, I hope you were able to keep up with me. I would love to hear your feedback, so feel free to shoot me an email of things that could make it easier for you to do, because this is all about you being able to make these projects with me. For those of you that signed up for the class, I will send you the link for the live, and I'll also be downloading it to YouTube because it does go off of Facebook after 30 days. So once it's on YouTube, you'll have it forever, and I'll be sending you the PDF as well. If you are watching and you did not order the kit, it's not too late. In the comment section, I have a link for you. And then next month we do this again. I believe August 28th is the last Wednesday of the month, and you'll get the kit to make all of this. So again, everything is included except for the stamped messages or any flowers. So stamped images, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to send through the mail, but I will send you all the paper. You'll also get the trim pack, and you'll get a full set of the adhesives to make these cards. All right, thanks for watching. Oh, and next Wednesday is my free card class. So look on Facebook, or if you're on my email list, I've already sent you information about that so that you know what to have for that class. See you next time.